Hey guys, Dale here, back with a brand new RimWorld series, our Star Wars Sith Empire. This is going to be part 0, so we're going to talk about the mods, the objective that we have for this playthrough. We'll lightly introduce our pawns, and we'll take a look at the world and ideology and all that fun stuff. If you want to skip ahead to playthrough, you can skip part 0 and jump into part 1. First things first, I like to kind of show you guys graphics setter. So 9 gigabytes of textures and all that fun stuff. Holograms, anomaly upscaled, oracle, vanilla expanded, all kinds of stuff, adding a bunch of textures. Let's hop over to Steam and we'll take a look at some of the key mods. So we are using Outer Rim, the Old Republic. We are playing as the Sith Empire. It's not necessarily this Sith Empire from this mod, but we are using the weapons and some of the Sith apparel for our faction. This Sith Empire is going to be a continuation of the Sith Empire that we kind of unlocked during our Return of the Sith playthrough. So it is a bunch of ancient pureblood Sith that have been reintroduced into the world from crypto sleep in ancient dangers on the planet that playthrough happened on, and they've kind of reformed into a force. They are trying to find their way in the galaxy. We'll be using Star Wars The Force, a sidecast edition. This has some sidecasting trees that are thematically around the Force, as well as kind of like lightsaber abilities. It also includes in it an alignment system, but also lightsabers that are customizable. Right now, this mod is like the lightsabers and the Force sidecasting trees are packaged together, but the mod author is planning on splitting those two up. This is the Force mod and lightsaber mod that we used for our Jedi Survivors playthrough. Next up, it's not Star Wars related. The graphics are just so good. These armors, these weapons, I feel like this robe and this tunic underneath, they just feel really regal. They also feel a little dark and evil, so I wanted our Sith Lord to be wearing those. And we're also going to be using the probe armor for some Sith aspirants. So that's why this has been included. This mod author has more planned that is Dune related, so I'm looking forward to that and being able to do like a really cool Dune playthrough at some point in the future. But I'm excited to be using these textures right now. Next up is Xenotype Remix. This is actually a mod that I just published last week. What it does is it takes the Outer Rim and Star Wars xenotypes and kind of deduplicates them. If you've ever played with both of these before, you'll have two different kinds of Twi'leks, you'll have two different types of Togruta. There's a lot of overlap between the two of them, but there's also xenotypes in both of them that aren't present in the other. So I've actually customized all of these alien races, deduplicated them, and also kind of injected them into the factions that they were normally being injected into. Star Wars The Force Sidecast has some faction patches, so I have some patches to kind of like have all that use the xenotypes that I've set up. So I'm pretty excited about that. We are going to be using alpha biomes. Not all of the biomes, but I have created a world that is strictly alpha biomes. And so we'll see where we end up traveling on that. Multi-floors. I haven't used this yet. I've only just like messed around with it for a moment. But I'm pretty excited to try this out. The comments have so much positive feedback about it that I was like, we have to try it. One thing that I wanted to do in the previous Sith playthrough was build like, a big Sith spire temple. Um, and we won't go like crazy huge, but I do have plans for a multi-level kind of like Sith temple that will be our structure for um, our landed colony. We're going to start in space on a spaceship with SOS too, but we'll get down and we will build a temple. Progression verticality, this is just a complement to multi-floors. Fernie does a really great job of kind of like patching mods together and making them more intuitive. And so there's just some changes here, even some like texture and research changes. Adjustable ability cooldowns. So we aren't adjusting any of the cooldowns for our leadership ability or ideology abilities or anything. But we have some rituals. I was going to say ceremonies. We have some rituals in our ideology that I don't want to have a cooldown. And it's not necessarily for the like mood buff that they'll get if it's a great ritual or whatever, but we have sparring matches that are going to be occurring between the Sith aspirants. We also have like gladiator duels that our slaves and prisoners we might make them participate in, and I don't want those to be limited to being only able to do them like every 15 or 20 days or whatever it is. So I've lowered the cooldown on rituals to 0, and we'll just not abuse it for mood buffs. We'll use it for story-driven purposes. Held human. So I have disabled a lot of anomaly events. Anomaly is something that we keep playing, I feel like a lot of. And I don't mean to, but I feel like in our Sith playthrough, having some humans on display could be kind of thematic. I think the psychic rituals that are part of Anomaly, which we haven't really done much of, I think those could be really thematic. So we're going to start out with like all the psychic rituals, that research complete. We'll have humans that we can harvest bioferrite from and electricity from and can use for those rituals that will imprison in this way. Auto dissector, I feel like is potentially something I would not use for most of my playthroughs. I don't really play bad guys very well, but since we do have a lot of the anomaly stuff like turned down, I'm not sure how many shards we're gonna get. We need shards in order to do rituals and stuff. So I've used Make Anything to create a recipe that allows us to turn human hearts into shards, anomaly shards. And I figured, why don't we just like go all in and have a robotic auto dissector to retrieve the parts that we want from the people we decide to take those parts from. On the flip side of that, we have the Bionics Automator. I haven't used either of these two mods before, but this mod it's just a robot that installs bionics into people. So you still have to make the bionics. You load the bionics up into this machine, and then you load the pod in that you want to have the bionics installed in. And it's Star Wars, someone's liable to get their hand chopped off, someone's liable to lose an eye. So we might need to install a few bionics in people. Make Anything, already talked about it. We have 2 recipes, one for creating bioferrite if we're running low on it, and one for making shards out of human hearts if we're low on that. And then finally, we are... Oh, that graphic doesn't get any bigger. We're going to be trying out Yayo's Endgame. I like reading the comments. It can be maybe a little finicky. It might try and tell us that we need to gather energy from a biome that's not accessible to us. So I'll have to just be really good about saving and reloading, and hopefully that can help us work around if we get like, a biome that's inaccessible to us. But we'll see how this goes, and we'll make adjustments if we need to. But my plan is that we'll visit 3 different biomes, and we'll have 3 different sets of Sith that are kind of like in charge of those missions. Let's get back to the game. I'll load the planet up. We'll kind of like talk about the planet of Morval, and then we'll take a look at our ideology, and we'll take a look at our starting pods. Okay, well, this is the planet of Morval. It is an outer rim world. It is comprised of a lot of feralus infested jungle, a lot of pyroclastic conflagration, gelatinous superorganism. You got mycotic jungle down there. Is that it? I feel like we might have some other biomes. No, it might just be those things. Yeah, so, over here, Forsaken Crags. This is a world long abandoned by the Republic, if ever part of the Republic. We have some Outlander factions over here in the west. We have some moisture farmers also just kind of scattered around. Another Outlander faction down here. We have some pigskin factions right there and some tribals up in the northwest. There's also, some unsavory folks around here. There is a small band of resistance, the Morval Resistance. Politically, this Morval Reformation Republic used to have power over the whole planet, and their power has kind of waned. And being out of the way, the Sith Empire has actually set up some Sith legions here, and are kind of like strong-arming the government. Plan to take over this planet. Except we've discovered something about this planet that makes us interested in coming down to it and extracting a bunch of force energy out of this planet. By the time we're done with it, we'll have extracted basically what gives this planet life out of it. And so that's kind of what our Sith are planning on doing. So we have some folks that will plan to be allies. We're strong arming these guys, so we will publicly kind of like do them favors and ally with them, and then everyone else on this world is kind of like, it doesn't matter whether we're allied with them or not. Everyone else on this world is in our way for the most part. We are starting on a ship. Let's zoom in. Let's get people in places. Let's go ahead and get you guys. You can go. These are important people. We have some random crewmen. We have some Praetorian-like guards for our Emperor. I'll let them get to where they're going to be, and then we'll take a look at our folks. Actually, while they're getting there, let's take a look at our ideology. So I said that we're leaning pretty heavily into Anomaly. Chosen of Runex. They are supremacists. They are inhuman, ritualist, violent conversion, and blood court. So basically our strongest melee pawn is going to be the leader. We join us or die, and just some other just horrible things that enable horrible things. Honorable scars, forceful proselytization, don't care about death. We have our leader who will be a warlord, our moral guide, the dark acolyte, the master stylist, just in case we want to switch styles of things around, is a Sith attaché, melee specialist, Sith warrior, production specialist, Sith artisan. Who knows, maybe some of these little workman officers will make it down to the planet with us. And so we'll have Sith captains that can do shooting. We have a sparring match, so this is a test of skill and endurance where participants engage in friendly combat. Duelists will use their fists to fight. Wounds are usually not serious, and so this is something that our colonists can participate in. We have a social festival just in case we feel like celebrating called the Gathering of Shadows. And then we have a gladiator duel, Contest of Freedom, which we can use with prisoners and slaves. And so this might be a determining factor on whether we keep someone around the colony or if maybe we grant them like full citizenship into our empire. Leadership challenge, the right of domination. This is from the Blood Court meme. And so this is, whoever is strongest in melee will become our de facto leader. And if someone becomes stronger than them, they'll require that a challenge happens. No relics, none of that stuff. Just a bunch of Sith. Okay, so let's take a look at these guys. Darth Runix is not a familiar name. If we take a look at him, his name is Mach Darkhan. And so Darth Darkhan, Darth Runix is formerly Darth Darkhan. So this is the Sith that kind of took over in our Return of the Sith series. Darth Varle is a familiar name, also from the Return of the Sith series. And if we take a look at him, Limo Leonid, he was actually one of the Jedi padawan in our Jedi Survivors story. So a familiar face, familiar hairdo. And if you've watched Return of the Sith, then also a familiar story from him. Down here, we have 6 aspirants. Put your lightsabers away. Oh, they're going to walk away if they put their lightsabers away. We have Zephatarvi. What are you? You are a Nautolan. We have Hellion Edro, Dathomirian. We have Wapagemek, an Ewok. Vasilich Duel, Twi'lek, Clavdia, a Faline, and Ikla Ravek, Sith Masasi. Darth Runix is a Sith Kasai, and so the Kasai are like the priest sorcerer kind of subspecies. The Masasi, however you say that, they are like giant beast warriors. And we do have another Sith xenotype, the like engineering type ones, the like Zuggaroks or whatever. We'll see if we find any of those. So what we've discovered on this planet is just like the planet on Return of the Sith, there are ancient Sith locked away in cryptosleep all over this world. So we want to wake them up and bring them into Darth Runix's empire as soon as we can. But just like that other planet, this planet is kind of a dark side nexus, and Darth Runix wants to take advantage of that. And so we'll be role-playing that all the work we do for Yayo's Endgame is to drain the world of this dark side power, so that Darth Runix can take it into himself and have it for himself and destroy that planet in the process. So we'll be sending these guys down in Paris. We'll be sending one as a master and one as an apprentice. We haven't decided what is what, and our sparring ritual, our duel of aspirants, is what we'll use to determine who's going down as the master and who's going down as the apprentice. Anyhow, sorry for such a long-winded part 0. Thanks for hanging out with me, as always. Until next time. And actually, next time should be pretty soon, because part 1's coming right up. Have a good one. Bye.